Hey, welcome back to the CCW Safe podcast. I'm Mike Darter in Oklahoma City with
Stan Campbell in Oklahoma City.
Oklahoma City, finally.
Yeah.
We got our new video studio set up. We're going to start doing some video podcasts. So this is the new studio. We got Justin Collett. He has put all this together.
Big J.
Big J. And, man, that screen, so that's the Tetons hanging behind us there, but when we came in, can you put that back up, Justin? That was from the Tetons when Justin and I went up there. We did some work up there.
That's beautiful.
That's from Justin's iPhone shot.
That's why I take my iPhone when I'm with you.
That's awesome, man.
I get
so,
the shots.
Stan, give us a report on Vegas right quick.
Okay, quick rundown on Vegas. Had an awesome time. We were out there. Most of our team was there in Vegas for SHOT Show 2020. And we had several special guests attend the industry party. One of our featured guests today, along with his team, Jacob Pauslen, and then Andrew Branca came through, did some videos with Don West. Those were just pretty amazing. We're going to get those out as soon as we get done in the post. We had one of our members flew him in, who was involved in a shooting incident, a deadly force incident, and we did a roundtable discussion with the partners and all the key players with CCW Safe so that we can learn, from his experience, so that he can give us some feedback as to what we did. And so we'll put that out as well. There's a one-on-one interview that he did with Gary Eastridge, critical response coordinator. Mm-hmm. And we did some other videos with Mike and Gary talking about their individual shooting incidents that they had, when they were on the force, law enforcement. So we got a lot of stuff done. I had a great industry party hosted by Larry Vickers. That was probably the highlight for me.
Yeah.
And
it's a good time.
Yeah, it was just a lot of great time, great people sharing good information and establishing and picking up on relationships.
Yeah.
So,
one of which is who we have today, Jacob Paulsen from concealcarry.com, and we've got some pretty cool. They're doing some really cool stuff.
Yeah,
they have. Fortunately, we've had a good working relationship with that group for some time. And Jacob, welcome to the show.
Welcome, Jacob.
Thanks for having me here, gents. Really appreciate it.
And you're in Denver, right?
I am in Denver, though.
I see those mountains behind you on that green screen.
Yeah, I do have something to say about your studio because I got to tell you, I'm being honest, I've never been to Oklahoma City in my life.
Yeah.
But you did choose to put up a picture of the Tetons, and that's my home state. I claim Wyoming.
Nice. Hey, that's my favorite place. That's probably one of my favorite places in the world.
In my home, right as you walk in the entryway, I have a Wyoming wall.
Nice.
So I have, Devil's Tower, the Great Canyon of Yellowstone. I got the Tetons. I mean, I'm very loyal to my home state. I like to remind my business partner Riley that the Tetons are so beautiful that the state of Idaho decided to put their view of Wyoming on their license plates.
Hilarious.
That's right. Yeah, it's beautiful up there. And this shot, so this is one of my shots behind us, but I just printed that thing off 8 feet wide. It's actually coming in today. I hope it gets here. But yeah, it's a beautiful, beautiful area. And so let's talk about what you're doing, because what you're doing is something that we've wanted to do for some time. And I'm excited to hear what you got going on.
Hey, Jacob, before you start into your online stuff, I really would like to take a step back and learn about the history of your business and how you actually started. Can you give us that first?
Yeah, I'll try and make that concise, as it could be a very long story. But the real long short of it is I watched a lot of James Bond movies when I was a kid. And I thought Jason Bourne was pretty cool, too.
Yeah.
And so I never had any chance of doing any government work. I'm deaf in one ear. And so I set out pretty early on to kind of fulfill some dreams. And I started out with a private security business in Utah back in 2006, 2007. That did not go well. Mm-hmm. And so then I got into the training aspect of the firearm industry. And it's just, like most instructors start teaching concealed carry classes. And I've always had a knack and some formal training in internet marketing. I'm a marketer by trade. So despite probably being a mediocre instructor at best, really grew a pretty strong and fast business that way and started to expand nationally. And in 2016, we acquired the domain concealedcarry.com, which is obviously very good for branding. It doesn't take a rocket scientist to figure out that was a good idea. So since 2006, end of 2016, we've been concealedcarry.com, and our business has grown tremendously. We've really we continue to have a training operation. We have about 40 or something instructors across the country that teach classes of various disciplines in the firearm world. But we've really grown most of our business in other aspects. Our e-commerce business is very significant. Our site, we sell about 500 to 600 products. Some of those are our own, but we're also resellers for a lot of the big, manufacturers of holsters and bags and other various things, body armor, etc. We also have a membership subscription service now that's aligned with CCW Safe to some degree, and so we're very excited about that part of that aspect of our business as well. And yeah, we're involved as a media player too, and that's probably where a lot of people know us best. We have 4 podcasts that are part of our network, including the Concealed Carry podcast, which is kind of our flagship. We have mobile apps. We have a YouTube channel, and full-time writers that write blog posts and video and all sorts of stuff. So we're for better or for worse, we're all things Concealed Carry.
I love it. Yeah. So you talked about a few things, and we always like to share with our partners, our members, some of our featured partners' products. So can you tell us a little bit about what your app does? Because we plan to share that with our members.
So the app is like the most expensive thing I've ever done that never makes us any money, but we do it like a lot of things. And I know you guys are like this too in your business, where there's some things you do because they're just the right thing to do.
That's correct.
Because they help the user. And the app is one of these. We're hundreds of thousands of dollars in this app now. We launched it in 2015 originally. Oh, it was so horrible. It was so embarrassing. But today's version of the app is really wonderful. And the app is no ads. It's free to download. It's available on the 2 major platforms, Android and Apple. And there's no ads in it. It's free to download. And there's a lot of aspects to the app. Certainly, you can pull up all of our news articles. You can listen to any of our podcasts and podcast episodes. You also can pull up and search through any of the laws in our legal kind of library. Like a lot of websites in our space, we do some pretty heavy lifting to make sure that we have a library of current laws. So you could pull up a state, for example, Oklahoma, and you could say, is there a duty to notify law enforcement in Oklahoma? Is there, do they allow firearms in schools and these situations in those places? Can I have it in a vehicle if I don't have a concealed carry permit? And a variety of other things. We've got like 20 or so different laws that are summarized in the app on a state-by-state basis. You can pull up reciprocity maps for any given combination of permits. I can say I have a Utah non-resident permit, I got a Florida non-resident permit, I got a Colorado permit. All those combined, what's my reciprocity? It would spit out the map for you. You can search for gun-related businesses near you. So I can say, show me stuff near me, and it'll say, here are businesses that don't allow guns, gun-free zones near you. Here are gun ranges, gun stores, gunsmiths, gun instructors near you. It's extensive. You can log your own training, so I can go to the range, run a drill, and come back in the app and say, here are my times or my scores, take a picture of my targets. It's pretty extensive.
That's awesome. And apps they get up there. I mean, it's amazing the cost of those, and then to maintain them and adding. So that's awesome. That's great. So if you, where would they go? Your website is obviously concealcarry.com. Do you have any other links that you want to put out, or for the app is?
Yeah, for the app specifically, you can go concealcarry.com/app, and that'll get you to a page where you can click on iOS or Android. If you just open up the App Store or Google Play and just search Concealed Carry, we're going to be in the top 3 results for that search phrase. The full name of the app is Concealed Carry Gun Tools. So if that helped you differentiate it from another.
Now, you're also doing some online, you have online courses, online teaching available, or is this a new?
We do a lot of video training. I'm a modern guy. I'm inclined to believe that there's certainly a place for in-person training. I think it's very important. Yes, keep doing that, but we can learn a lot virtually. That it's just the nature of the beast. So yeah, we do a lot of that. So we certainly have courses that we film that you can go to our website and you can buy on DVD or via online streaming. And we have a lot of content. Some of that does make it into YouTube. Some of it is elsewhere, available on our site. Our paying subscribed members also have access to kind of an exclusive video library that's in our system on our website. But we have an upcoming event where we're going to be doing some, a bunch of free training, and I think that I'm really excited about that.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's what we really wanted to talk about today, because this is something that we've wanted to do for some time. I think it's so important what you guys are doing, because it's not just for concealed carry.
Right.
So let's get right into that and talk about what you're doing on the medical training.
Yep. So to your point, we feel pretty strongly. This is a bit of an evolution for me, if I'm being honest. Like if you'd asked me this question 4 years ago, I'd be like, medical stuff, yeah, that sounds important. Good call, But I didn't really get it, right? I think that a lot of us, the gun is this magic talisman, and we just feel like, hey, I got a gun, therefore nothing can go wrong, like ever. I'll just shoot stuff, and everything will be resolved. And we don't realize that, if you have to use a gun, you're definitely going to need medical gear. Like it's just going to be true. But more importantly, you're going to have so many situations in life where you don't need a gun, but you do need medical gear. Car accidents, household accidents, and other things, other situations. We did an interview not too long ago with Alicia Ketter, who was at the Las Vegas active shooter mass shooting event so a couple years ago. And that's not a situation where you're returning fire up however many stories into some building, even if you could identify, where the shots are coming from. She just ripped out her backpack and started putting tourniquets on people and saved lives doing that. So we've decided to invest pretty heavily into the medical sphere, both in terms on the training side and on the product side. And we discovered a couple things doing that. The first is that on the training side, most of the training that's out there is really what I would call generic first aid and CPR stuff. You can go to the Red Cross website. You can go to American Heart Association. They have tons of training, both in person and online, you can take, but it doesn't really deal with major trauma. You have stopthebleed.org, which is a great campaign and program. You can go to that website, and they have classes across the U.S. You can try and take one of those, but they're 90 minutes long. They're not significant. They're going to give you some nuts and bolts about, keeping blood inside of people, and that's important. And I would encourage anyone to go find those training courses if you can find one near you. But we just didn't see a lot of stuff out there that's highly accessible for people that deals with major trauma. And so figuring out how to address that was our number one goal. So what we've done is we're going to we're kind of in pre-register mode right now, but we're getting ready in the month of February to do what we're calling a trauma care virtual summit. And the summit word is purposeful. When you hear summit, you think generally, okay, I'm going to go attend an event. Each day there's going to be presentations and seminars or whatever, and I'm going to go sit in, I'm going to learn. But this is a virtual summit in that no plane ticket, no hotel room, no cost to travel, and the summit itself is free. It's 100% free. So anyone can attend. You just got to register. You need an email address. That's all you need. And you can attend. And each day, over the course of 13 days, we're going to release a training video. And those videos will be anywhere from 10 to about 40 minutes long. So it's a real simple thing. You sign up via email, and you get those training videos, and you do that over the course of 14 days. After that's complete, they are going to be restricted. We haven't decided exactly what to do with that content yet. We might repurpose it and sell it, but at least right now it's free content.
Well, and you brought up a good point. Stan and I were both police officers. Being a police officer, very rarely not every officer out there ever gets in a shooting, but
Sure.
Every day they're dealing with some kind of trauma, whether it's a car accident to a shooting or so forth. So the likelihood of you as a concealed carrier to be able to use training like this, you're going to have such a more likely scenario than you are to be involved in a shooting. So that's a one thing. And even if you are involved in a shooting, are your kids with is your family with you? Are you we've had two shootings at two mall shootings in the last month or two here in Oklahoma City. And so to be able to help someone with some kind of medical, even if it's just basic medical, that's been one thing that I have really wanted to do for probably about 2 years now. We've talked about it forever.
Yeah.
But trying to get somebody to do that, because that's kind of out of our wheelhouse. Be able to have somebody to do that and have good products and a kit. So that's my next question is are there going to be kits and is there going to be products that you're going to be that these videos are going to be going over that you're going to offer that you're going to put out or what?
Yes. So
awesome.
That's frankly, that's the reason why we're able to give the training away for free, is because we know that we'll turn a little bit of a profit on the physical goods. So we hope that people will consume the training and decide, hey, that they need better gear or they need gear at all or they need more gear. So yeah, what we're doing is we're coming up with, we have 2 kits that we're going to be selling, trauma kits. And I think it's really important for anyone who's watching this to understand these are not first aid kits.
Right.
A first aid kit is something that you can get pretty dang cheap at any big box store, and you stick on the shelf, and the kids are always going through it, and band-aids are getting exhausted, and you replenish. That's not what this is. A trauma kit's think of it like the fire extinguisher, right? You want it near when you want it near, and you want to make sure that it's got what's supposed to be in it, that it's not been tampered with, and that it's ready to roll. That's the trauma kit. So we started out with 2, and we kind of have one that we called it the Yellowstone. You'll appreciate that with the Tetons in the background. The brand is Mountain Man Medical. So all the naming, the nomenclature is around Mountain Men, having grown up in Mountain Man territory. So the Yellowstone is kind of what I would call our standard kind of core kit. And it's a solid kit. It comes with a SWAT tourniquet. Optionally, you can add a cat tourniquet, which we think is very wise. We think that's a good, having those 2 tourniquets in your kit would be good. It comes with gauze. It comes 2 things of gauze. It comes with an elastic bandage roll. It comes with twin chest seals, 2 chest seals. It comes with a quick clot. So you have a hemostatic agent. It comes with shears. It comes with a marker, so you can take notes. It has 2 pair of gloves in it, so 4 unique gloves, right? 2 pair, and it comes in a nice pouch, MOLLE pouch, with first aid patch on it. And I might be forgetting something else that's in there, but it's a good kind of stand. Oh, it has a compression bandage as well for a North American Rescue. So we in putting these together, we discovered 2 really kind of important things. The first one is for a lot of the components in the kit, you got to go name brand. We don't want to go reinvent compression bandages. We don't want to go reinvent hemostatic agents and tourniquets. There's proven products out there. So you put a tourniquet in there that is proven. You put Quick Clot in there because everyone knows Quick Clot. We know it works. You put in a compression bandage that is from a name brand company. There's some things that maybe don't matter as much. The marker is a pretty generic, Sharpie kind of knockoff marker. But that's the first thing we learned is that you can't go cheap on the components. You got to use the name brand components. The second thing we learned in this project is most of our competitors out there who are selling trauma kits, because they're in the business of doing that and that only, their margins are pretty good. Yeah. Their margins are pretty good. They're more expensive than we think they need to be. This kit I've just described, this Yellowstone kit, if you add the cat tourniquet and you get the whole thing with the cat, our retail is going to be $106.99. And we couldn't find a comparable product out there that was less than $200.
Wow.
That's awesome. And what's the second bag?
The second one is called the Sweetwater. So you got to be pretty Wyoming savvy to know about the Sweetwater. It's a river, the Sweetwater River. I grew up in Sweetwater County, Wyoming, born and raised, born in Sweetwater County Memorial Hospital. So the Sweetwater River was very heavily trafficked by the Mountain Man. So Sweetwater is kind of a little bit more stripped down. We decided as a company, we had a goal to have a product option, a trauma kit option that was sub $50. We feel like a lot of consumers have nothing because everything they look for is expensive. When you go out and you're looking for a trauma kit and the cheapest thing you can find out there is $150, that's pretty cost prohibitive. So we said, what's it going to take to have a kit that's sub $50? So the Sweetwater starts out at $48.22. We try really hard to have calibers. So in this case, we were able to squeeze 22 in there. So for $48.22, you get the SWAT tourniquet. You still get a pressure bandage from North American Rescue. You get the shears. You get the marker. You get a roll of gauze. You get an elastic wrap bandage. You get the shears. You get the 2 pair of gloves. So you still have pretty much everything. Yeah. The 2 things you really don't get is you don't get a hemostatic. You don't get Quick Clot. You don't get chest seals.
Chest seals, yep.
Yeah, so
that's awesome.
Those 2 things are kind of excluded.
And that's perfect because you can have your main kit. I would suggest to our members. I mean, I'm gonna, I want one in probably both of my cars and home.
Yeah.
And it's nice to be able to have that big kit and then have 2 small kits. And then I'm up in your,
neck of the woods,
stomping grounds quite a bit. and I run photo tours and a guide up in Yellowstone, Tetons, Alaska. And, to have something like that to be able to throw in a backpack is awesome. I can't wait to see these come out. So
Yeah, yeah, we're pretty stoked about it because we feel like we've not sacrificed quality, but we've still made it extremely affordable.
yeah,
And I would encourage people, if you're out there, if you're watching this and you're thinking, hey, I'm in, I would add the cat tourniquet. Just my 2 cents. The SWAT tourniquet that comes by default in both of these kits is it's a good tourniquet. It's a good, the industry believes in it. It's not as good as the cat,
Hmm.
but it's significantly cheaper. So we put the SWAT in by default because it allowed us to get the price point where we think it needs to be for the average consumer. But if you can add the cat tourniquet, I would. Because I think that the cat is TCCC approved in combat. I mean, this is one of two tourniquets that all of our military is using. So
Yeah.
I would strongly encourage you to add the cat. But yeah, I think you're right. I mean, for me, both cars,
hmm
my range bag, I'll call it like my sportsman outdoor camping bag,
Hmm.
and then I have two in the home, kind of one on the main level, and then another one in the safe room.
hmm So can you give what's the difference between the two tourniquets?
Yeah, so and I wish I had them right here handy. I could grab them. They're over there in that room. But the SWAT is originally it was its own brand. It was acquired by H&H Medical a year or two ago. More like 2 or 3 years ago, and it's the one you may have seen. This kind of big, long, elastic wrap. It's 4 inches wide, and you got to kind of wrap it repeatedly over and over the surface, and you kind of stretch it to create the compression
Hmm.
to do its job. It's a little bit harder to apply, especially
hmm
on yourself. If I'm putting it on my arm and I got to do
Right.
it one-handed, that's gonna be difficult, though certainly doable. But it's a little bit slower to deploy as a tourniquet, and it's maybe not as quick to stop the blood, right? And then that's the point of the tourniquet, is stop the bleeding. But it's an option, and
Yeah.
retail
Yeah.
on that is $17.95.
Hmm.
So it's a pretty affordable tourniquet, generally speaking, for a lot of people. But it's not TCCC approved. And for those who don't know, TCCC is a kind of a committee that approves medical gear for combat for the U.S. military. So this is not a tourniquet that's used by the U.S. military, though it is one that, as an industry, is generally accepted as being a quality product. Uh, that the CAT, on the other hand, which is short for Combat Application Tourniquet, it's made by North American Rescue, and it is TCCC approved. It's probably one of the longest standing, most heavily used tourniquets. It's so common that now there's endless counterfeits out there. I see way
hmm
too many people who think they have a cat tourniquet and they bought it on Amazon for $12, and it's a counterfeit. And you
hmm
do not want a counterfeit tourniquet.
Yeah.
I could get into that sometime. But anyway, so the cat retails for $29. So it's basically a $30 tourniquet, but it's the industry standard. It's the one you're probably thinking of, where you're
Twist.
gonna just sleeve it over, lock it down via like a Velcro, and then you're gonna use a windlass and crank that 2, 3, maybe 5 times
hmm
until blood flow stops. And that's the cat.
Awesome.
Hey, also, Jacob, when you guys do your training, you are using those particular products to train with, and are you doing it on humans or trauma dolls?
So mostly humans. For the purpose of training, we want to make sure we're being as illustrative as we can.
Hmm.
So where we can, we're doing it on a human. A tourniquet's an easy one to do. It's not a big deal to cut off someone's blood flow for 30, 60 seconds.
hmm
And it's a pretty easy thing to show that, hey, we've definitely cut the blood flow on this arm, right? It's not flowing anymore. Let's undo it before this dude has any damage.
Hmm.
So we're doing it that way because it's more sensible. And also, I'll add that in the training, it's important that a person know how to apply these things to themselves,
Hmm.
right? If I'm in the back country and doing whatever, and some bear attacks me, and I, pop it with a 9mm, and maybe it runs away scared. Now I got massive bleeding. I got to be able to put a tourniquet on myself, or I got to be able to apply, the quick clot, the bandage. I got to be able to pack that wound myself.
Yes.
So there's an important aspect to this training, that it's not just about how this works and how to apply it to someone else, but knowing, do I know how to apply this to myself? If I got to
Hmm.
put it, I have a friend who just was putting up Christmas lights down in New Mexico, and she fell off the ladder, sliced open her arm on the rain gutter. Okay, had some pretty serious bleeding. Pulled her tourniquet right out of her back pocket. She's a farm instructor, carries it, self-applied, cranked it down. A couple seconds later, bleeding stops.
Hmm.
Call first responders, get sorted out, get taken care of. So most of the training we're doing ourselves. We do have a hemorrhage trainer, which is on loan to us from Z-Medica. It's the company that makes Quick Clot, and it's a really nice way to kind of illustrate how the bleeding works. And so we're doing a combination of things, Stan. But I think, I guess what I'm trying to emphasize is that don't forget you have to know how to do this stuff on yourself.
Oh,
That's a whole different level of training.
Yeah. And my follow-up question to that is, do you guys plan on stretching it out where adding additional training after you apply the medical kit, or like the trauma stuff to your own self, to transition back to firearms, either one hand or anything like that in the future? Are you gonna try to grow this, or is it going to stay strictly medical?
I think we're still exploring that. We have a subject matter expert on our staff. In case anyone was wondering, by the way, this is not I'm not teaching any of this stuff.
Yeah.
So the guy who we're working with, he's a former Navy corpsman. For those who don't know, the Navy corpsman is the Marine equivalent to an Army medic, and he's been through EMT school twice, once in the military, once as a civilian. He's worked in an ER, and so he gets it, right. He's been in the situations where he's sending bullets toward enemy combatants, has to stop and throw a tourniquet on someone, put an IV in them, and dodge bullets. So I think he understands that context of what that's like, and I think we're just barely starting down the path on what that looks like. So we're starting with what I would kind of call this like core series of education, and it's available for free to the public for those 13 days. If they buy a kit, they get permanent access to those videos, by the way. So if you ever buy anything from Outman Medical, poof, you can always go back and watch that stuff permanently. We also discussed, and I hope I don't get in trouble for declaring it out loud right now, that we're going to make all that video training permanently available for CCW Safe members. If we can find out a way to do that, if you're a member of CCW Safe, you can have access. Beyond that, though, there's a couple of challenges we're going to encounter. One is kind of, how do you apply it specific to current circumstances? It's true of all training. It's like, well, in theory, this is how this is done. Now apply that to specific application, to the gun range when someone goes down, for example. The second challenge is just that this stuff gets outdated. If we had done this training 3 years ago, today we'd have to redo it.
Yeah. And there's always going to be those updates. But that's awesome. This is exciting for me. I would, we're going to push this out and really get this out to our members. Where can they go if they're watching this? Where can they go to get signed up for this? When? And tell the dates again of how long it's going to.
So you can register right now. You can go to concealedcarry.com/summit. That's probably the fastest, shortest way to get there. concealedcarry.com/summit. And all you need to do is put an email address. I think we asked for a first name and an email or something like that, and then you're registered. Once you're registered, you're going to get notified via email every time a new video is released. The starting date for the actual content, we originally had said February 3rd, but it looks like we're going to have to push that back a little bit, probably 2 days, so it'll probably be February 5th. But I would encourage people, get registered as soon as you can, so that you can get locked in and you can start watching that content.
Awesome. Man, this is cool.
Yeah, I mean, we're definitely going to give a push to our members, because, I mean, it's really important. People never think beyond just trying to protect yourself, and they don't deal with the what ifs. If I get hurt or my family members, stopping the bleeding is imperative. And we love what you guys are doing, and we're real happy that you're making it available for our members as well.
Yeah, absolutely, no problem. I think if I had a parting thought on this, is that a CCW Safe member is a person who's very conscientious about being prepared.
Correct.
And medical preparation is, in my opinion, just as important, because we ultimately carry guns so that we're hard to kill. We want to win the physical fight, and having the right medical gear and training is, in my world, arguably just as important as the gun. And I'll add that it also will help combat allegations of recklessness and negligence. I think there's potential legal positive implications of having this training and this gear.
Yeah, we had a shooting here it was not in Oklahoma City, but in Oklahoma several years ago, and the guy was not a member at the time. Afterwards, he became, because he actually had charges filed on him, had to go through a pretty big criminal trial, was ended up found not guilty, but he was a doctor, and immediately after he shot, he went to work on the guy, and I think that probably had a pretty big impact on the outcome of that trial, or at least part of it. It had to have, you know, to have
Yeah, it's
something
hard
like
to
that.
show malice
Correct.
Right.
when you immediately go into life saving.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, this is awesome, man. It was great to catch up with you and Riley and you guys. Like I said, all of our members, if you don't know about concealedcarry.com, go check them out. Sign up for their newsletter. They have, you know, we put out stuff weekly. They put out stuff weekly. We trust their content. These guys are good guys, and I can't wait to see this new medical training coming out. So,
Well, we appreciate it. We really do.
yeah, well, thanks for coming on, man, and tell Andrew we said hey.
I will do that. Thank you.
Hey, thanks,
All
Jacob.
right, man. Take care.
See ya.
All right, Stan. So, anything else you want to follow up with today?
No, let me see. I think we covered everything that we need to cover today. We do have some things that are coming out in the near future. Partnership we did with police1.com. So we're going to be sending some stuff out that direction. I just got back from Florida doing the NYPD Sergeants Association, Retired Sergeants Association, and had a great time with them. You know, got to present before like 200 retired sergeants from NYPD, and you know, shout out to them and all the people that take care of us from that organization. But you know, we just got a lot of stuff coming. You know, I'm glad we get a chance to do this. Although today I have on my made for radio face because I needed 1 more hour of sleep. But Mike talked me into doing this anyway, and I care about you guys, so I came in here shiny and tired looking. But in the future, I'm gonna try to be beautiful like Michael.
Hey, easy now.
I'm just saying.
The check's in the mail.
All right.
So, yeah, this is our new video podcast. Let us know what you think, if it's useful, what topics you guys want to be, you know, hear from. We've added Justin Collett. You know, we hired Justin about a year ago, and he's our content manager. He's done some great things with our content. We're ramping up more video. In fact, we got I don't know how many videos we got done out in Vegas. We got some great videos with Don West, Andrew Branca, with Kyle Sweet, with no, Andrea couldn't do it. We had Andrea lined up, but she had a trial going on. So we got some great content coming out. This is added. Justin is actually going to be putting together kind of shows. We're going to be covering some clips, video clips that we'll be able to bring into the show, some maybe audio clips, some stories. And we may go back, and I think we're going to go back. One thing we're going to do is go back, and we've had 2 to 3 years now of content from Don West and Sean Vincent on these high-profile cases that have gone to criminal trials. And, you know, a lot of these people are in prison right now, and they've reviewed the different kind of elements of that case and what could have been done differently and what happened. So we're going to probably start talking about bringing some of those stories in and kind of re-going over those, because we got a lot of new members. You know, you might not know about that. If you don't, man, go back in time on our website. If you go to ccwsafe.com, go to the news section, and just, I think on the left there's a list, and if you click on Don West, then you can see all these articles. And like I said, we have probably 2 to 3 years of those articles now going on. And they're great lessons learned to look at cases and see why these people are sitting in prison right now. So other than that, we'd like to hear some feedback and what you guys think. And, you know, thanks for watching.
Yeah. Be safe out there.
Yeah.